The Honest Money podcast is brought to you by Prescient Investment Management. We consider everything to give you the advantage. It's the future of investing. Prescient Investment Management is an authorized FSP.
Good morning. Sorry, I've just read the group or the profile description now and see the request for voice notes. So I'm just sending my question above as a voice note as requested. But yeah, my question is in terms of tax-free savings accounts. I have a good grasp and understanding of them. I know how they work. I maximize mine every year, and I think they're such a great avenue having them in your portfolio. My question is in terms of a tax-free savings account set up for a child or dependent. I don't have kids of my own at the moment, but it would be one thing that I would definitely look to do is set one up for them when they are still a child and maximize the contribution into that for them so that later in life they have that huge benefit of the compound effect. I just wanted to ask in terms of the tax break, for an account that's set up like that, where I, as the parent, contribute the money into the account for the dependent when they're still young, is that tax break still given the whole way through their life? So effectively, does government look at where the source contribution comes from, or is it purely as long as the account is under their name, they won't be taxed when they withdraw from it later in life? But yeah, thanks very much. Cheers. This is Dylan. Bye.
Thank you so much for your question, Dylan. I think it's such a no-brainer for me, for parents or aunts or uncles or grandparents or even godparents, anybody, to get involved in funding a tax-free savings account for a child almost as soon as they're born. You know, even if you can't maximize the contributions in a year, giving the child the head start of that massive growth over a long period of time is such an amazing gift that I just wish that everyone would do it, those that can afford it. So let's just get into the nuts and bolts about the tax-free. I know, Dylan, you were saying that you've got a good grasp, but let's just explain it for everybody. So you're allowed as a person to contribute 3,000 Rand a month or a lump sum of 36,000 Rand a year. So it's a maximum. That's the most you're allowed to do into a tax-free savings account. And you can do that until you reach a lifetime contribution limit of 500,000 Rand. So importantly, this is not when the investment itself gets to 500,000. It's when you've contributed over your lifetime a maximum of 500,000. And when you reach that limit, you can't add any more money, but all of the growth, all of the dividends, all of the interest, everything, all of the rent, whatever the growth and income from that investment is, all of it is tax-free. So you don't get a tax break as you would with a retirement fund where you get a reduction in your tax by SARS for adding to the tax-free. That's the big important point here. But once you put the money in, you get all of the growth tax-free. And so for me, it's a massive benefit. I think importantly and it's something we've spoken about a lot on Honest Money, is if you take money out of that tax-free, you use it and lose it. In other words, let's say your investment was worth 300,000 Rand and you took out 100,000. That means that your lifetime contribution limit has gone from 500,000 down to 400,000. So short answer is don't take money out of this investment unless the wheels have fallen off, life's about to end, there is nowhere else to go, then sure, take money out of this. But it really is there to be part of your very long-term retirement or financial freedom planning. So if you are, let's say, an uncle, because Dylan says he doesn't have kids. So Dylan, if you're an uncle or you're planning to have a child, maximizing that contribution as early as possible on behalf of the child is absolutely fine. SARS has no problem with it. They obviously want to know that the money is from an honest source. In other words, there's no money laundering and all that sort of stuff. So they're going to do their FICA, but they don't mind if it's parents, grandparents, friends, or whatever that contributes to that tax-free for the child. The minor children, in other words, children under 18, are not really allowed to earn their own salary. So it's obvious that the money is going to come from somewhere else. and SARS has no problem with that. It's one of the few accounts that are quite easy to open up for youngsters. So I think it's, for people that, are at that stage where they or their friends or their family members are having children, especially for very young kids, I think it's a great gift, to say to people, look, I'm going to do, contribution to your child's tax-free savings account. Have you got one? No. Okay, let's set it up. And every year for their birthday, I'm going to do that, and and buy them something very small, especially when they're young, that they think that they're getting the gift is the small thing, but actually the real gift is financial freedom when they get older. And I think just to understand that, if you get to your lifetime contribution limit, let's say people start, on your behalf, your parents or grandparents or whoever it is, manage to contribute that $36,000 a year for you. It means that by the time you're 16 years old, you've got your maximum lifetime contribution. And the likelihood is that if they've been doing it every single year for 15 or 16 years, the account will be worth much more than $500,000 by the time you reach your lifetime contribution limit. So it's very likely that it's sitting on $1 or $1.5 million. And if money doubles every 5 years because you put it into the stock market, you put it into an index or a general equity unit trust, that means that you could be sitting in a position where at the age of 21, you're sitting on 2 to 4 million rands worth of investments. Now that's a mighty gift to give someone at the age of 21. And if you're able to let that carry on going, you could be in a position where you're sitting on 8 or 12 million rand by the time you're 35, and for a lot of people that would be financial freedom already. And so I think it's just understanding that the compounding thing that we talk about here is really material. It's really important, and the earlier you start, the better. And you can't start much earlier than kind of the day the person's born. So Dylan, I love the question. I think it's SARS has made this very easy for people to contribute to tax-frees for themselves, for their children, for family members, whatever it is. And so by all means, set it up, get it going. And encourage everybody to contribute to that tax-free on behalf of your children, rather than buying them meaningless stuff that's going to get thrown away or given away in 6 months or a year later. I think it's we don't want kids to feel unloved when they're young. So you got to give them something and make them feel happy when they're getting a little gift. But the real gift is financial freedom. Thank you so much for your question, Dylan. We love those voice notes. Please keep them coming. It helps us to give you the content that you want to hear. And as much as we can, we'll try and answer your questions.
The Honest Money podcast is brought to you by Prescient Investment Management. We consider everything to give you the advantage. It's the future of investing. Prescient Investment Management is an authorized FSP.